My name is Rob Charach, and I will be hosting tonight's virtual information evening for our prospective kindergarten families. Tonight, you're going to hear from our early years Vice Principal, Heather Karr. You're going to have an opportunity to meet our admission officer, Joanne Ritchie. You're going to have a virtual tour of the school. And there's going to be a time for some Q&A where we'll receive questions in the chat. We really appreciate you tuning in this evening, and hopefully you'll get a good window of what life is like, specifically for the kindergarten students, but also for our K-4, our early years program. Let me open this evening in a word of prayer. Father, we thank you just for the opportunity to present this evening. We thank you for the freedoms we have to offer an independent Christian school experience. And Father, I pray for each of the families that are viewing. I pray that you would give them wisdom and excellent decision-making on where they're going to invest in their children's education. So we just commit this evening to you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Well, we are a school that has a mission and a vision and core values that really help us in all we do, and it's the filter of our decision-making. And I want to share a short video that really walks you through the foundation which this school is built on. So let's watch that right now. Thank you for joining us to learn more about Linden Christian School. My name is Robert Charach, and I have the privilege of serving as the principal and CEO of Linden Christian School. This is my 21st year as an administrator at LCS and the 15th year as the principal. And I'm pleased to have this opportunity to tell you about our school. 34 years ago, Linden Christian began with 33 students and 3 staff. Today, there are over 960 students representing over 130 churches. 120 dedicated staff serve the school community. Linden is a K-12 school with 3 classes in each grade, and next year we are planning for grades 7, 10, and 11 to have 4 classes. Kindergarten will have 2 full-time classrooms and 1 part-time class, and our part-time kindergarten students will attend school on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Linden is a member of the Manitoba Federation of Independent Schools, and the MFIS represents over 14,000 students in our province. The school is also a member of the Association of Christian Schools International. Linden delivers education based on the Manitoba curriculum with biblical integration and a commitment to a standard of excellence in every discipline of study. Christian education allows for education of the whole child, intellectually, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Kenneth Gangle, a writer, shares this important distinction about Christian education. The purpose of Christian schools is to present our children, as clearly as possible, the truth about God, about life, about our world and everything in it, and to present the Word of God as the authoritative source upon which to build a life that has purpose and meaning. This is a powerful statement that is foundational to what we believe at Linden Christian School and work to develop in our students. It is our desire to partner with parents to achieve this purpose. Now let's take a look at the foundational values that our school has been built on. First of all, our mission. Our mission outlines the school's purpose. With a commitment to excellence, Linden Christian School provides a Christ-centered education that equips students to love and serve God. And the vision, on the other hand, is a central part of what we are attempting to achieve. Linden Christian School will be a biblically based learning community where all students grow to be devoted followers of Christ, insightful thinkers, discerning decision makers, and compassionate community members. Your understanding and support of the vision is very important for a number of reasons. The decisions and choices that we make as school leaders are filtered through our vision. Our vision provides us with the meaning for what we do. Our vision acts as a compass bearing for the future, for guiding the school into the future. The vision of Linden Christian School sets it apart from other schools. Other schools have important missions and visions. However, they will be different from our own. A foundational part of our vision is supporting each student to grow to be a devoted follower of Christ. It is our hope that each one of our students will realize their potential and gifting so they can serve others and make a positive impact in our world. There's a biblical mandate for Christian parents to teach their child with a biblical worldview. And Linden Christian School can be an important support to that calling through the teachers and staff that promote healthy, supportive relationships throughout the school community. I like to say that the heart of a Christian school is the classroom, and the heart of every classroom is the teacher. All our teachers are committed followers of Christ, and they are committed to instructing, guiding, and mentoring their students. The impact of a godly role model is one of the most important aspects of a Christian education can offer. Each teacher becomes the living curriculum, representing the values and characteristics and traits that we want to develop in our students. This is particularly important during the early years when the core of the child's belief system is formed and will influence them the rest of their lives. Linden is a Christian school where students are encouraged to have a growing and meaningful relationship with God. And we have the freedom to use the scripture to inform instruction and to help students form a biblical worldview. Students are taught that placing Christ at the center of their lives is the path to fulfilling and meaningful life. Weekly chapels in all divisions of the school build community through practical application of biblical principles and worship. Parents are always welcome to attend chapels, and throughout the school year, a number of special chapels and events are hosted for the school community. We encourage our students to live their faith in practical ways and to grow to be compassionate community members. Teachers, staff, and students work together to find age-appropriate outreach activities that honor our vision, impact lives, and teach our students to look beyond themselves. We believe that each child has gifts, and we want to see those gifts grow and mature. Our school has a strong focus on academic growth and spiritual development. Over 90% of our students go on to post-secondary education and are excelling in many different areas of study. In conclusion, Christian education is about parents, teachers, and leadership working together to achieve the goal of being truly educated. It is an investment in your children's future that I believe is well worth making. Linden Christian is committed to excellence and building a community where your children have the potential to thrive and develop relationships that will carry on with them into adulthood. Hopefully that gives you a clear understanding of what the foundation of our school is built on. You know, it is a unique time that we're living through. And I want to share for a few minutes, some of the steps that we are taking at Linden Christian School to protect the school community during the pandemic. Things like posting signage to make sure people know what is required of them before entering the school and why they're in the school. Our signage affirms public health directives related to physical distancing, hand washing, wearing a mask. Arrows and other directional signage are in place to direct students and the overall community movement. We have also designated areas of the school to specific grades and cohorts. This allows us to minimize student movement and protect the integrity of our cohort system. Numerous classrooms layouts have been redone to meet physical distancing requirements. We took a rooms and replaced them with desks this year. Recesses, lunch breaks, and events like chapel look different. We have more of them so that there are less students together at a given time to protect our cohort integrity. Our before and after school program, which was revamped so that all the cohorts stay together, being grade specific. We've hired additional staff for supervisory duties. The frequency of cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing high-touch surfaces in the common areas and shared areas has also increased significantly. Hand sanitizing stations have been put outside every single classroom. To minimize the potential of virus transmission, we've also have rooms designated for students or even any staff that may present some symptoms of cold or flu or COVID at the school. And while we've had a handful of positive cases of COVID, we are grateful that no school transmission has resulted in the community. The last thing I want to share is we have a wonderful facility, a campus of almost 150,000 square feet, and we share it with Grant Memorial. And we work very closely with Grant to ensure that all the public health directives are consistently applied in the building. You know, why are we doing all this? It relates to one of our core values. We want to ensure that we have a safe and caring community for all our students. And it's working really effectively. I'd like to take a moment and let you view a little bit of a video that shows life in our K-4 school. It was filmed about a year ago, and I really think it'll capture the heart of the K-4 experience. Let's watch the video.
Grade 4. I've been going to Linden since kindergarten. I like the teachers. They're really nice and they help me a lot.
My name is Rob Charach, and I have the privilege to serve as the principal and CEO of Linden Christian School, and this is my 20th year in that role. Christian education really begins at the home, and a Christian school can come alongside and support families in that process. Linden is unique in that it is a K-12 school, so we have, in many cases, the privilege to see children develop right from kindergarten to grade 12. It really is about relationships with other students. A number of our students will carry these relationships right into university, and later throughout their entire lives, and that is a wonderful thing. It's relationships with the teachers. Our teachers deeply care for their students. They support them and pray for them, and they interact with them, so that's a blessing.
I got a surgery done last week in my mouth, and my teacher and my class, they've been praying for me, and I'm really grateful for that. If I'm having a problem, she doesn't get upset and say, you should be listening more. She just kindly helps me.
Hi, I'm Karen Schrader and I teach grade 4. I've been here since 2001, so a long time. We get to teach to the whole child, so we're not just teaching someone's academic needs, but we get to address their emotional, their mental, and also their spiritual needs as well. And so that's a really important piece that Christian education provides. Everything that we do is from a Christian perspective. So whether it's addressing behavior issues, it's understanding that that child is made in the image of God and they are precious and loved by Him, and that we all mess up and all make mistakes and works in progress. So we deal with grace and in love, but also understanding that there's a big picture in this and that it's a teaching opportunity. So that's one aspect of it. And then all of our curriculum is integrated naturally from the perspective of what's God teaching us. How do we learn about His world and explore His design, whether we're learning about animals and their adaptations and how they survive in environments, to reading literature and this book says this, and what can this teach us about God and His character and who we are in Him? So everything that we do is integrated from that perspective. We invest in them knowing that it's long term. And so that's a really important piece. So of course I want them to be servants, and I want them to care about things passionately. I want them to know when they leave in the classroom at the end of the year that they are God's children, that they're loved by Him, that they've got a purpose and a plan on this world, and it's not just random or by mistake, but that they've got a really important piece of His story. And so I want them to know that deeply. I want them to be compassionate community members, and that's a huge thing that we work on, whether it's contributing to Operation Christmas Child or writing letters to the students in Anna's House, which is a grade 4 project that we work on. Anna's House is an orphanage and education center in Ethiopia. And so we raise funds for them and we write letters to them. And so we get to show students that we can make a difference. Life isn't only about them, and they're a piece of the story. We want them to look out for the needs of others and be aware of that.
Our students really are blessed to live in an incredible country, and we want them to learn the blessing of being compassionate communities and generous givers. So that really is a fabric that that's woven right through the school. we emphasize strong academics and spiritual development, and that is really foundation to what Linden is built on. And finally, ultimately, and the critical part is to encourage a relationship with God. Those relationships, student to student, student to teacher, teachers to families, and building the relationship with Jesus Christ is what our school's about. Well, it's my privilege now to introduce Heather Karr. Heather has been a leader in our school for over 18 years and now serves as early years vice principal, and she's going to tell you about our kindergarten program.
Hello, yes, I'm Heather Karr, and I'm excited to share with you a few important aspects about LCS, what makes us unique, as well as some specific information about our kindergarten program. Here at LCS, we believe in teaching to the whole child, not just meeting their academic needs, but their social, emotional, and spiritual needs as well. And everything we do is from a Christian perspective. So we teach the Manitoba curriculum in our classroom as outlined by the province. However, we take a biblical worldview and we integrate that throughout all of our subject areas that we teach and how we interact with the child. At LCS, we currently have 3 kindergarten classes, you heard mentioned before, for a total of 60 kindergarten students, 20 in each class. 2 of our classes are full-time kindergarten classes, and 1 is a part-time class that comes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our school day begins at 8:30 in the morning and ends at 3:15. Now, in kindergarten, the children are immersed in literacy and numeracy right from day 1, the start of the year. And they really enjoy learning to become readers, writers, mathematicians, and scientists as they explore with their teacher in meaningful ways. We recognize too that, children all come into kindergarten at different developmental levels. So we have some students that may come to kindergarten knowing 1 or 2 letters and sounds, whereas, we may have another student that comes to kindergarten already reading. So we address this in different ways. One of the ways that we address this is through a small group instruction with the teacher in the class so that each child is learning reading at their own pace. And besides learning to read and write and do different math skills such as counting, identifying numbers, patterning, measuring, we also have different specialty classes that our kindergarten students are a part of. So one of those classes is music. We have trained music teachers in the ORF method of musical education. And so this really has an emphasis on learning music through singing, movement, instruments, listening skills, and the study of composers. We also have performance opportunities at our school within our music program. So we have Christmas concerts, a spring concert. Starting in grade 3 and up, we are part of the Winnipeg Music Festival, and we send choirs there to perform, as well as school chapels. We also have French that our kindergarten students take. So all of our kindergarten to grade 4 students will take French, and we teach French using the AIM method. The AIM method uses a lot of hand gestures to reinforce the French vocabulary that the students are learning. So through song and drama and these different gestures, the kids get a really good sense of the different themes of our French curriculum. As well, physical education is really important. It's a class students have on a regular basis. And it's not only important for us to have our students physically active, but to teach that physical activity with a purpose. And our emphasis is on developing skills, developing basic movement skills that can be later used as they move through the years and learn sports in the older grades. And approximately once a week, our kindergarten students will go to the school library. It's always a favorite time. The school librarian will read a story, Sometimes we talk about, different features of the text, authors, illustrators. We really want to instill that love of reading with our students from early on. And they're also able to take a book out of the library and take home to share with their family. We've got several resources available at our school for our students. We have a resource department that comes alongside our classroom teachers, our students, our families, to support kids in the area of reading, math, English as an additional language, as well as working with students with special needs on any kind of adaptations they might need in the classroom, with the curriculum or their environment. One of the things we also do is we have clinical support services available to the school. And through those services, we access a speech language pathologist, a reading clinician, and a school psychologist. We're really thankful to have that relationship with clinical support services that provide our families with that support. Now, when we talk about the importance of the spiritual aspect of our school, we do have Bible classes and Bible memory that happens from kindergarten right through grade 12. It's a really important part of our program. We also have weekly chapels where the children come to worship and learn about God. I speak a little bit more about chapels in a tour you'll see later on tonight. And we also strongly believe in our students becoming compassionate community members. So every class engages in some type of outreach throughout the year. And this looks different at different grade levels. In kindergarten, some of our students in the past, we've collected hygiene items for a local Winnipeg mission organization. They also participate in packing shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child. That's always a favorite, and we do that in our whole early years as a team. Some other grades have different projects. The grade 2s collect mittens. We have the grade 3 students are involved with our seniors resident next to our building, and they make meaningful connections with the seniors a couple times a year there. When students are in grade 11 and 12, they also have an opportunity to go on a mission trip to Guatemala. So we've got a lot of opportunities, and even within the school day, besides academics, we have opportunities. Our grade 4 students have the opportunity to be on a praise and worship team that helps to lead our chapel worship. We've got our grade 6 students that help as being traffic patrols with some adult supervisors. As well, our grade 6s will be conflict resolution ambassadors on the recess playground. It's really neat to see them out there helping the kindergarten students solve problems. And as they get older, there's a lot of other opportunities, both in the area of athletics and music. We have, exceptional band and choral programs at LCS, as well as, high-level athletic programs. We also have a School of Fine Arts, which we call the SOFA program. And this program offers private music lessons during the school day. And so some families like to enroll in that as well. And you can check out our website to kind of see what kind of lessons they offer, if that's something that is of interest to you. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to watch a tour of a few highlights from our school that are of particular interest for families with children entering kindergarten. And I'm going to show you the unique setup of our kindergarten classes and our recess playground. So thank you so much for listening in. And I hope this helps to show you a little bit of our school from a kindergarten perspective. Hi, I'm Heather Karr, the Early Years Vice Principal. Follow me. So today I'd like to take you on a tour just to show a few highlights in our school. So when you come in the school doors, to our right here we have the main office, and in the main office that's where you might pick up your children if they have to go home early. We work on attendance through the main office, and if a little kid needs an ice pack, this is where they go to. As I come down the hall, hallway. To the left we have our grade 2 classrooms, and down to the right we have our kindergarten and grade 1 classrooms. So let's go check out a kindergarten classroom. So at LCS in kindergarten we have 3 kindergarten classes. 2 are full-time and 1 is part-time. Here we are in our kindergarten area, and one of the things I love about our kindergarten area is that it's kind of self-contained. We have our classrooms here, and the kindergartens have their own bathrooms in this area, they have their own water fountain, and their very own entrance to the playground. So let's go check out the playground now. So here we have our playground. This playground is exclusively for kindergartens and grade 1s to play on. You can see we've got a beautiful playscape that features a really fun hill with a tunnel running through the middle of it. We've got places for climbing, places for sitting, lots of green space. We have a sandbox and a stage to perform on. And so the whole area is really designed to encourage students' creativity in a fun and safe way. This here is one of 3 kindergarten classrooms, and all of our kindergarten classrooms are identical in size and layout. So typically in a kindergarten classroom we have where the instructional activities happening on this side of the room, and on the other side of the room we do more play-based learning type activities, centers, things like that. Right now you can see we have a lot of separate desk space due to COVID, but typically it would look different. We like to encourage a lot of collaboration, teamwork, community in the classroom. And so now in our current situation, teachers, they're adapting to the situation and finding other ways to build community in this room. All right, so let's go check out the auditorium. The auditorium here is where we have our early years chapels every week. The kids come together as an early years community and we worship God, we learn more about His Word. We also use this space for concerts. We have a really large concert in our early years at Christmas time and in the spring, where we feature many of the musical talents that the students are developing in music class here. We also have special chapels throughout the year. We have a K-12 Christmas chapel, Easter chapel. We have Thanksgiving chapel. In February, we celebrate the love of God through a friendship chapel. And one of our favorite things to do in early years too is have a grandparents chapel and have our grandparents come and celebrate them. So this is a really useful space. It's used by K-12. It's used by early years frequently to draw in our community and have some of that relationship building. So here we have our small gym, and in our small gym, a lot of our earlier students have their physical education class. Mrs. Gail Sarant is our early years phys ed teacher, and she does such a fantastic job of engaging students in a lot of activities that are meaningful. They're learning about all the basic movement skills, whether it's skipping, jumping, hopping, running, throwing, catching, so many more. And what I really love is in the kindergarten class too, she teaches all the students the names of their muscles. And so they become quite proficient from an early age in a lot of those skills. And so not far from our small gym, we have our South Hall. And our South Hall is really a gathering space. It's a gathering space for our high schools students to congregate, have lunch together. It's a gathering space where we have parents that will have coffee together after a special chapel or concert. And it's also could be a gathering space for some of our earlier students in the fact that it's kind of a special treat. Sometimes parents will come pick up their early years child and bring them here for lunch once in a while. So it's really a space, a wonderful space with lots of light where families can enjoy. Right, so now I'm here in our school library. It's a great space. We have a green room in our library where students can create lots of projects. We have our kindergartens and earlier students have library classes regularly where they can listen to a story, sign out books for the week, and it's just a really comfortable space for our students to also study in the older grades. So here we have our Student Support Center, and in our school we have a resource teacher for every division of our school, and this is kind of where their offices are. So in early years we have a resource teacher that supports kids in the class, supports teachers as needed. We also have a literacy support teacher that supports teachers and students, sometimes in the class, sometimes in a small group. Our philosophy really at Linden is one of inclusion, and so we want to work with families on how to meaningfully include each child. So that might include meeting with a resource teacher, making a plan of strengths and needs, and then how do we incorporate that plan so that your child can reach their fullest potential. A core value of the LCS is to be a safe, caring, learning environment that focuses on the whole person. I believe that the way our classrooms are designed in physical nature, as well as the way that our teachers plan and teach the children, addresses that core value. So thanks for coming on this tour with me to check out some of the spaces in our early years classroom, and thanks for considering LCS for your child's education. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little tour that just gave you a glimpse of some of the main areas that our kindergarten students frequent. So right now, I wanted to let you know that we have some resources available for you to download during this webinar. A few handouts, I've got 4 here, and we're going to share them with you right now. You can download them anytime during the rest of this webinar. And the first one I'm going to share with you is for our School of Fine Arts, and that is the private music lessons where families sometimes like to enroll students for that. The next one that we're going to share with you is our tuition schedule. And our tuition schedule, that will give you some of that information. Another handout I'm going to share with you is for our before and after school program. And that is a program that we offer to students, to families really, for their students that are 12 and under, for if they need childcare before or after school. It's open from 7:30 in the morning till school starts, and then after school it goes till 5:30. So that's an option that some parents like to use if their working hours don't quite jive with our school day. And the last one that we're going to share with you is our kindergarten handout. And in this kindergarten handout, I have some more specific information about our kindergarten program, as well as our start of the school year. We do a staggered entrance and what that looks like. So yeah, again, download those at any time. And right now what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to our admission officer, Joanne Ritchie. And in this video, she's going to show you how to apply at Linden Christian School.
Hello, my name is Joanne Ritchie, and I'm the admissions officer here at Linden Christian School. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. If you are interested in knowing more about the application process, come and join me in my office, and I'll be happy to walk you through the 6 steps in completing a new student application. One way to start your exploration of LCS is by contacting the admissions office. You can call area code 204-989-6739 or email admissions@lindenchristian.org. And I will be happy to assist you with any questions that you have regarding the application process. Step 1. We have recently launched an online application platform. If you are a new family to the school, you will need to visit lindenchristian.org to create an LCS application account. There is a $100 non-refundable application fee. And please note that a credit card is required to complete the online application process. Step 2. Once logged into your account, click on the Apply Now button to fill out the application. You can save your progress at any time and come back to complete and submit the form. A paper application is available from the main school office or online at lindenchristian.org under the Admissions tab. You can download an application form and submit the completed document to the admissions office by mail or by using the LCS drop box located outside the main school entrance doors from Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Step 3. Ensure the supporting materials are included with your paper or online application. If you are applying online, you will need to upload digital copies of the following documents: birth certificate or passport, current photo of student, most recent report card, if applicable, most recent high school transcript, if applicable, and legal custody documents, again, if applicable. Step 4. Once the application has been received, an interview with a vice principal will be scheduled. At this time, all interviews will be done virtually through Google Meet or Skype. Interviews for kindergarten and early years will start in January to March, and interviews for grades 5 to 12 will begin in February through April. This happens after our re-registration process for our current school families. Both parents should accompany the student for the interview. Questions are asked to determine the educational needs of your child, as well as spiritual and social aspects of your child's education. The interview is also a great opportunity for you to ask any further questions you might have about the school. Step 5. Once the determination has been made about student acceptance, the decision will be conveyed to you. You can expect to hear from the admissions office in April via email or by phone call. In instances where Linden is not able to place your child, you will receive an email stating we cannot proceed further with the application. In some instances, it may be possible to place the application on a wait list. Applications are transferable for 1 year. Step 6. Registration. In the case of student acceptance, a letter of acceptance and a registration package will be emailed to you from the admissions office for you to complete and return. Thank you for your interest in Linden Christian School. I look forward to connecting with you in the days ahead. At the end of this event, you will be taken directly to the online application. Thanks for visiting the admissions.
Well, now it's time to answer some questions, and you get an opportunity to ask them. I myself and Heather Karr will be responding to questions that are fired off into the chat. So let's begin that part. So we have a question. I'm interested in kindergarten. What is the deadline for applications? Heather, why don't you walk them through that, because you're going to be the key person doing a lot of those interviews.
Mm-hmm. So the process for the kindergarten application, sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question is, does LCS have a deadline for kindergarten applications?
Right. So the deadline for applications. So we don't have a hard and fast deadline for applications. However, we do get several applications in, and so as we kind of walk through doing those interviews, I think the sooner that you apply, the better, as we have those 60 kindergarten spots. And yeah, we do tend to have several applications, and we like to start that interview process in February as soon as possible.
Next question that we have is, does LCS have a before and after school care program? And yes, we do. It's been mentioned already. We have a before and after school program. And we realize that many of our parents are commuting, and we want to be supporting the families. There's a minimal charge where families can enroll and their children are well cared for in our before and after school program. Question is, how is it determined if a child will attend kindergarten full-time or part-time? Well, that really is a parental choice. As being outlined, we have plans for 2 full-time kindergarten of 20 students in each class, and 1 part-time kindergarten, which is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which will allow for another 20 students. But it's important to realize part of this process is allowing our existing families that have kindergarten students. They're the first ones that are going through the process of enrolling and being interviewed. And once those are through, then we begin the interview process with other individuals for the open spots.
How do you apply for the before and after school program? Is a spot guaranteed for students who attend LCS? And yes, so all of our students that come to LCS are eligible, and we have a spot for the before and after school program. There's a little bit of paperwork to fill out just to have information, but that's available to all of our students under the age of 12 on any day that the students are in school on instructional days. So we don't have childcare for holidays or break times.
Question regarding what is the acceptance rate of your high school students in university? Approximately 90+% of our students go on to post-secondary education. And one of the earmarks of our commitment to academic excellence is how our high school students, specifically our grade 12s, perform on the provincial exams. And historically, our students will score 10 to 18% higher on the math and ELA exams compared to the provincial mean. Here's a question, and I appreciate it. How do you have to attend church to send your kids to LCS? And no, we accept children from all different belief systems, as long as there's an understanding that we are going to present a biblical worldview. We have a statement of faith, which parents agree to accept and that understand that that is what we will be teaching in our biblical integration in our program. So we're very upfront about that. We realize people are in different stages of their spiritual journey, and we want to partner with them in that. There isn't a commitment either that you have to attend Grant Memorial to be a member, join our community. Here's a question. Are parents allowed to volunteer in the classroom? Obviously, the answer is yes, but Heather, maybe expand a little bit on that.
Different areas. During COVID right now, unfortunately, we don't have parents coming in the room, but certainly, parents love to come help in the class with a variety of projects. We have some teachers too that have items that sometimes they send home that parents want to help support the class with, reading at lunchtime to kids, working in small groups. But yeah, under current COVID conditions, at this moment, we're not having parent volunteers.
How does the educational curriculum for part-time students and full-time kindergarten students differ? First of all, we teach the Manitoba curriculum with a biblical perspective. But Heather, maybe unpack that a little bit for the parent.
We do teach the same curriculum. So in part-time and full-time, they are getting the exact same outcomes. In the full-time class, there are some other opportunities, I think, for to reinforce some of those concepts. But at the end of the year, if we were to compare side by side, our students come out knowing the same curricular outcomes in both classes.
There's a question regarding the school calendar. Do we follow the same school calendar as the public school? And yes, we do. We're on a 6-day cycle, and we just follow that just like all the other schools. And we have mentioned this, but is the part-time kindergarten full days? Yes, it is. It's full days, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I'll say just from experience, it does take some time for the kindergarten students to get adapted to coming to school, but we're sensitive to that. And after probably about 4 to 6 weeks, students are well into their routines and are thriving in that environment. The question as far as EAL and language support, that's part of the application process. We do have an EAL support program. We haven't mentioned that, so it's a good question. And we do take a number of students, international students, and students who are learning English. And we have a support program under the direction of one of our student support teachers and a team of EAs. Good question here. Is there financial assistance available for tuition? We have a bursary program where we have a committee that reviews applications. And each year we allocate a certain amount of money to support families. The information that is provided to that committee is 100% confidential. And they begin reviewing those applications in spring, and then the money is awarded according to the needs that are out there and the funds that are available. But it is a priority to us. We want to live what we say and be a compassionate community. And it is something that we continue to fundraise for each year. What is the number of applications? Well, that's a hard question to answer. Normally, we do receive a fair number of applications in kindergarten, and everyone who does go through the application process and completes the application is interviewed. We also have Lorraine Kaler, one of our former administrators. She's supporting that process and doing some of the interviews. We are doing the interviews by Zoom this year, and Heather and Lorraine will be walking through that process. You know, the question, is there a chance to meet the kindergarten teachers before the school year starts? There's an allocate, once the classes are selected, then there's an allocation of 20 students per class. And in some occasions, we do allow a meeting with the teacher before the start of the year, if there is especially any level of anxiety or things that would help a smooth transition into the school. We will make that allowances, and that happens normally just before the school year starts. Take a couple more. Do you provide lunch or snacks? No, those are things that are provided by parents. There is a snack time in the classroom. Heather, maybe talk about what that day looks like in the kindergarten, how the kids respond to that.
Yeah, so parents send along snacks and lunch. And in kindergarten, we have 2 snack times and a lunch. And the teachers are really well organized, and they will, ask that parents even label containers for, snack 1, snack 2. And so, and we try to teach the kids what to eat and divvy it up a bit. But yeah, the parents provide the snack.
Question related to before and after school. I encourage you to read through that document we provided, but there is a fee. We hire a lot of staff to manage all the students and before and after school, and our fee at this year is $4 an hour, or a portion of an hour that the student is under supervision. And we realize that's an important part because parents are are transitioning and getting home from coming from work to pick up their children. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how do we select the 60 students. And Heather, maybe you can walk through a little bit. I've said one of the criteria, obviously, is do they have siblings in the school? And there will be priority given to families that currently have siblings in the school. There's a number of other things we look at. Heather, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So again, yeah, our school families do have priority with acceptance. When we're looking at other students and that whole application process, we're really looking at, can the school meet your child's educational needs? Is the family supportive of the school and our mission and statement of faith? And so those are really two key elements that we're looking for, that we can partner with families in providing what children need.
One of the things that, as far as communication, as far as dates of the school, Christmas holidays, Easter holidays, PD days, we're very committed to keeping parents informed, because we realize that there will need to be coverage for you. We send a calendar out at the beginning of the year with all those important dates, all our PD dates on, so that parents can make the needed adjustments to ensure their children are supervised and have coverage when there isn't school in place. This is an important question. I appreciate it. Do you accept students with special needs? And how many funded students do we have? We have a number of level 1, 2, and 3 students in our school. And the whole process is part of the honest, open transparency in the application process. The answer is yes, we do accept students with special needs. And it is reviewed as related to our ability to meet their needs. And also collectively the whole needs of a specific grade and the specific division of the school. So that's a process. When there is a student who has special needs, our student support teachers are involved in the interview process, and they confer with the appropriate vice principal and work through that until a decision is made. Heather, talk a little bit about this. There's nothing to worry about, but what sort of questions do you ask when the child comes for the interview? We don't ask them to go over Einstein's theory of relativity, but we certainly go through some questions. Go ahead.
Yes. So in the interview, I like to talk to parents about, what do you see as your child's strengths? What is their personality like? What are some concerns you might have for your child, and how can the school support that? I also like to talk to the children, and I will often ask them questions about what they like to do, about their friends. I ask, if they know some letters of the alphabet, if they can count for me, just some really basic skills to be able to have a conversation with you and your child, and get to know them. And that's, largely a part of that. As well, if there are anything that you need to let the school know about your child, that's an opportunity to do that as well.
Good. Thank you, Heather. Lots of questions. Let me just see. What parts of the city do most of our students come from? Well, we really are a school that covers a large percentage area of the city, but most of our families are coming from the south and southwest areas. We have families driving in from rural parts of surrounding the city also, and that's the very wide range of areas of the school that represent our school population. Field trips. Talk a little bit about field trips, Heather.
Kindergarten, we often take a couple a year. This year we haven't been taking field trips, but field trips, we want to do them with intentionality, and how does that fit into our curriculum and what we're teaching the children. So we have a wide range of field trips, from Fort White, looking at animal adaptations in grade 4, to a variety of other community building type field trips. usually about 3 a year in a classroom.
Again, a question related to the interview process, and do you test students' reading and writing ability in the interview? Heather, walk them through that.
Reading and writing, but I will get a child to, draw me a picture and write their name if they're able to, and just show me a little bit of where they are at. If they know their letters, what sounds do the letters make, just to kind of gauge where they're at. And so it's not a formal assessment, but I do like to look at some of those things.
So there's a question, again, a logistical question, but it's a good question as far as the drop off and pickup work. Well, there are a number of options for drop off. We have a drive-through system, which is fully staffed. We're moving a lot of students in our school. First of all, there's a staggered time when students are coming from early years, middle years, and high school. And the students can be driven through the drop off, and then their doors open and they exit, and we have people helping them through that. They cross at our main school entrance, the north doors, with the help of patrols and staff. There is the option to park in our north lot, and the parents can walk their children in to the designated area where kindergarten students enter, which is really outside their classrooms. And the same thing works at the end of the day. Kindergarten parents can enter the building and wait outside the classroom and pick up their children, or their children can, if they have siblings, they often go out and meet their parents when they're either going through the drive-through or have a designated parking spot where they get a routine. These are things that, when individuals are accepted into our school community, we have a new parent orientation night, and we walk through all these things and make sure that there's no surprises for you. Again, we are committed to the safety and well-being of the children in our school. We put a lot of thought, a lot of effort in how that whole morning starts, and we want the morning to start in a positive way for the children. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Do the kids have a strict arrival time and departure time on the full-time program? Well, you can answer that, Heather, and the answer is yes, there is, but maybe expand a little bit.
We do. We start our school day right at 8:30 with O Canada, and we end at 3:15. If parents need to bring their child earlier, we can use the before school program. And if they're not able to pick up their child on time, they would use the after school program. But we do like our students to be in school for that strict arrival time, because there's so many important routines that happen right first thing in the morning to really get them used to their day and transition them.
There's a question are there any restrictions in regards to food and snacks that a child can have? It really depends on the specific grade and classroom. We are a peanut aware school, meaning that in some grades where we have individuals with high level of anaphylactic or allergies, we're sensitive to that. We make it peanut aware, and we put some levels of restriction on the snacks that can be brought. But that is specific to the grade and classroom, and those are reviewed each year. There's a question, that someone asked as far as the start of September. Like, just so you're aware, our K-3 students are not wearing masks. And the question relates to, are our students going to be wearing masks in September the 5th? We don't anticipate that. There are some children in K-3 that are wearing masks, but a large percentage of them are not. And just so from our experience, we have had all the children in K-6 here for the entire year, and there's been very minimal number of cases. They have not come from the community, and we're thankful for that, but we do not anticipate children wearing masks in fall. We're hoping that things will have progressed significantly as far as the whole response to COVID, and that some of the restrictions will be significantly reduced, and we can get back to more of a normal experience. We have a question as far as busing or transportation. We do not have a busing program at this time. It's something that is reviewed periodically, but there's no plans for next fall to have a busing program. We do know that some parents coordinate drop-offs with another family and they carpool and they share that responsibility. And that's something that works effectively. And we can provide some support in that as the connecting, especially with new families. What question as far as sports? This is a question more related to high school. What kind of sports does LCS support? Well, Heather, talk a little bit about our K-4 program, and then I'll weigh in as far as our middle and high school.
We practice a lot of those early skills needed for a lot of sports, and so in our learning our basic movement skills, how to catch, all these things, we're starting to build towards those sport type skills. And we do have intramurals for students in grade 3 and 4 typically as they move up. And so we're really in the early years laying a foundation of skills in their gym classes for future sports at LCS. Did you want to talk a little bit about the high school sports, Rob?
Absolutely. I'm just reading some of the questions. Just lots of good questions. High school, we participate at the AAA level. There's occasions that we go to quad 4 for different sports. We participate in all the major sports, volleyball, basketball. We're the only independent school that have a hockey team. We do soccer, both from girls and boys. We have a curling team, a golf team, cross country. Those are all things that we are participating in. And obviously this year's been difficult because our sports program has really been put on pause. We're hoping that, again, maybe even later this year in the spring that some things can reopen. But we're committed to a very strong athletic program. We want children to develop their gifts, whether it be performing arts, in music, in drama, in art, or in the sports programs. We want them to have a very rich experience when they're with us at Linden Christian School. I'm going to take 2 more questions. Okay, great question. Do the majority of early year students continue through to senior years at LCS? You know, it really depends. You know, I'll give you an example. I think last year we had a graduating class of about 72 students or 74, and we had about 30 students that had been with us for the whole K-12 experience. We actually have a special recognition for those students. But whether they're here for 4 years, 8 years, or 12 years, they really develop some significant relationships and connections. And I want to just make a comment about early years. So much of the child's understanding, biblical worldview is shaped in the early years. Each year has its unique, important markers that you reach. Middle years is a very important year of developing critical thinking skills and the importance of having the right peer group and being focused academically, both in high school and middle years. But that's a rough number. It varies from year to year, but there are a number of students that will carry through and be part of our community. You know, what happens there, and I can speak from a little bit of experience, as both my children went through, they were lifers. They were here from K to 12, in one case 1 to 12. They have shaped and built relationships with individuals that have carried right through university. And it's been a core group of relationships and friendships, which they really value. And we as parents are very thankful that those connections have happened. And also the connections with some of our teachers, coaches and teachers that have really poured into them. So when we talk about Christian education, and we say this, education built on relationships, we are building relationships with our families and our communities. And we view it as a support to you as parents. I'm going to take one more question. Question is, do K to 3 spots open up after this stream, say closer to September, or typically do they all get filled in January and March? Heather, you want to talk a little bit about that? It's basically asking, do we still accept some students? It really depends.
It really depends, and I think it varies from year to year, Rob. We do a lot of our interviews between January and March, and so we may, we're hopefully making some decisions about applications in March, around the end of March. Sometimes things happen, and for whatever reason, people move and more spots become available, although typically we do a lot of that in the spring. On occasion, there are spots open later.
All right, we are going to conclude at this point, and appreciate all the questions. There are some questions that you can still continue to answer, ask, and what I would recommend that you can send those to our admissions officer, Joanne Ritchie, for any additional questions. So thank you for joining us this evening. Before you leave this session, I encourage you to download the handouts that are there. And once these once this event ends, you will be taken directly to the LCS online application where you can set up an account to consider if you're ready to apply for and start the application process. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you and building further connections with you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.